Hi there, this is Kay Moon, and this is a short video about how to navigate the upcoming communication and union window opening for twin flames in 2021 and at the end of 2020. This particular video will provide insight based on what's happening astrologically and how to use the astrological energy and what to expect, in addition to providing just some general tips that I've seen both in my own connection and in my client's connection about things that tend to precipitate union energy grounding itself in the 3D world, harmonious energy between you and your counterpart grounding itself in the 3D world. For many of you, you already know that if you're watching my channel, the energy between you and a counterpart, whether or not they are for a certain twin soul, maybe ascension partner or high level soulmate, you may not know what the label is. However, you may be very clear that love has been the very instructional teacher for you to navigate that connection and finding ways to navigate it with a more directly undefended heart, so to speak. It's the name of a book. I highly recommend you read it, is going to be the path forward into allowing this connection to thrive. And anything less than that is actually going to compromise the connection. So, no matter what the label is, if this is a path that you've been on and the content on this channel has resonated, this particular video will support you in transcending your astrology and cultivating the awareness required to step outside of waiting for something to happen astrologically and step into your creatorship and mastery and cultivating love in any connection, anytime, but in particular with your divine counterpart. So I want to start with the astrological information first. Then I'll move into the a brief introduction to a video that I recorded for the members of Star School 201. For my students in Star School 201, they're specifically learning about how to know when harmonious windows of time open up between them and their counterpart. And I'm teaching them that so they can work with the wind at their back. But regardless of whether the wind is at your back or not, after interviewing so many twins who are in union, as well as seeing it play out in my very own connection right before my eyes, the reality is the stars do not control you. And if you're actually being masterful, and what I've seen from twins in union and in my own twin connection, the reality is that it's going to be challenging when you're walking this path prior to some kind of union, and it's also going to be challenging after some kind of union. The difference between being in union and not in union is the choice to work through the challenges together. That's it. That is all. Either you're going to work it through together or you're not. And so recognizing that choice is the divine differentiator between 3D world union states and not 3D world union states empowers you to get yourself into the best position possible so that when the communication and union windows open up astrologically, like the significant one we're about to have, you can be in the best position possible to move your connection in a direction that's harmonious for you and supportive to your counterpart. The last time we had a communication window or union window like this open was November. Actually, it was July and through mid-August of 2019. So it's been about a year and a half before we've had the kind of energy that we're about to see open up. And that particular energy was only open for 1.5 months for Cancer through kind of the first part of Leo season. After that, the energy got contentious and difficult, astrologically speaking. And we saw what 2020 was like. We were all kind of grounded in our own homes for extended period of time. However, there is a new energy opening up. And so I want to walk you through the dates for that. You'll see that this union window opens up for all twins now at this new moon in Scorpio period. and it's going to stay open all the way through the end of April of 2021. So right about April 30th, May 1st is when the energy starts to switch. We get the divine counterparts moving in both opposite directions. Divine feminine will be retro, divine masculine will stay moving direct, and they'll start to pull apart energetically in the sky. They'll still be harmoniously placed from a sign perspective, because the two signs are sextiling one another. She's in the sign of truth and freedom, Sagittarius. He sits in the sign of revolution, change, that's Aquarius. They'll still be harmoniously placed in that sextiling position. However, they will not be in the most acute of that energy. They'll start to pull apart into much more looser degrees, which will take some of the wind out of the sails. Okay. But because we have a 5.5-month window of all of this harmonious energy, I want you to be as prepared as possible for how to utilize this energy so you can get the most out of it. And the first thing that I want to tell you about this energy is that there are 3 harmonious aspects between planets in the sky. The first one is the conjunction, the second one is the trine, and the third one is the sextile. The sextile, which is what we're about to have, is the least harmonious of the 3. And I'm preparing you for this mentally because I want you to understand how it works. With a conjunction, you just kind of get shoved together. When you see conjunctions of divine feminine and divine masculine in the sky, and they happen about every 6 to 8 years. They don't happen very often. When you see these conjunctions occur every 6 to 8 years, you will find that these are times when twins have actually really either they first met or they had a significant coming together or something significant transpired between them that moved the connection forward. When you have the trining energies happen a little bit more frequently. And the trining energies, again, they're supportive to help things move forward, but they're not as supportive as the conjunction. Conjunctions are a bit like divine intervention almost. And then the next most frequent but least harmonious is the sextile. Now, the sextile is the kind of energy that gives you what you're willing to put into it. If you're not willing to work, the sextile will not work for you. It's a bit like being placed in a boat in a water, a little rowboat, 2 oars, 1 oar per person. If only one person is rowing that boat, the boat goes in a circle. If no one is rowing that boat, the boat stays still. But if 2 people are rowing that boat can go far, and it can go far fast. So it's important to understand that, because in order to get something out of this union window, to see something move forward, you will likely need to take some steps and to do some things and to orient your mind for what you're going to need to do in order to make yourself ready. The entire Tools for Union series available to you in the playlists on this channel were meant to facilitate connecting you with guides who can help you find your way toward the work that you need to do. Not every guide is for everyone. Find the guide that's right for you. Roll up your sleeves, be willing to look in the mirror, and prepare yourself to do the work. Secondly, I'll also say that what I'm about to share with you are patterns in mindset and communication that obstruct connection and create connection. And you want to be paying attention to these, because as this union window opens, if you're waiting for something to happen because this is a sextile, it probably won't. If you're actively taking action steps, there's a very high propensity that things can move forward, ground themselves, and do so repeatedly, establishing a foundation that you've been probably looking for and trying to create, but it's been a little bit like banging your head up against the wall with inharmonious energy between the divine counterparts. This year in 2020 was significant and very special. And it was special because it gave us the opportunity to see how we might be getting in our own way in our connection, and to shed the things that are stopping us from better anchoring love in our lives and in our partnerships. So if you find yourself in any of the patterns that I'm about to share with you, it's okay. In fact, I probably should say trigger warning. You may find yourself in some of these patterns. I want you to give yourself a pass here and consider the amount of pain that you must have been in prior to meeting your twin from either your family system or relationships past, or since meeting your counterpart that caused you to defend yourself from getting close. I want you to take a deep breaths, give yourself the recognition, and get yourself into a place where you can get support to do the work to move yourself forward. Okay? Now, if you're a twin who's already in union and you're listening to this information and you're just getting like I'm not really sure what to do with this, the reality is that this particular period of time is a great opportunity for you and your counterpart to deeply move your connection forward, to step into your next level of work or mission together and facilitate whatever the next step is in your union. This will be a great opportunity for conversations because the divine masculine is sitting in air and communication sign Aquarius. Divine feminine is sitting in sign of truth and freedom. This will be a great opportunity to be able to say things that perhaps you've never said, even maybe because perhaps you've never admitted them to yourself before. In doing this, you get the opportunity for deeper intimacy and much deeper connection. I'm so excited to cheer you on and support you. I'm very excited to see more union energy anchor in the 3D for divine counterparts as we move forward in this space together. Thank you so much for liking, watching, and subscribing. And I hope you enjoy this information. Hi there, this is Kay Moon, and welcome back to some orientation presuppositions for Star School 201. This will help you understand why I see the things I see inside the chart when I'm looking at the chart. Now, these are a set of beliefs that I believe are true when it comes to the twin flame connection. Now, you may have been provided your own guidance, and I implore you, I beg of you, stick with your own guidance if that is what has been shown to you. What's been shown to me is what I use as my lens to be able to look at the stars and understand what's happening in the energies between counterparts when they show up in session with me, in my own connection, and when I'm reading for the collective. So I'm going to walk you through these presuppositions that pertain to kind of what my guides have shown me about divine connections, specifically twin souls. And I'm also going to show you, walk you through some things I've learned about connection when it comes to twin souls and divine counterparts that exist beyond and transcend astrology, so that as you're trying to utilize the information from Star School 101 to be able to calculate, okay, how and when can I connect best with my counterpart? The information I'll provide for you around connection is something that will help you relax about the how and when and help you understand that what matters more than getting it right by astrological calculation is being really true to your heart. And so I'll walk you through the, kind of some of the patterns that I've seen among all of the, hundreds of twins that I've spoken to, and what I know for a fact allows the connection to breathe, grow, and thrive regardless of what the stars say, so that you have the opportunity to, yes, get the stars as wind behind your back, but also break free from the bondage of believing that somehow, some way you could mess this up from a timing perspective, because I really don't believe you can. The first thing that I wanted to walk you through are the presuppositions and the beliefs that I use when I'm looking, when I'm understanding twin soul connections. And twin soul, It could be divine counterpart, it could be ascension partner, etc. Regardless of the label for the connection, when it has ignited you in the understanding of love as a spiritual path, the purpose of that connection and the point of that connection was and is and will always be love. In its highest vibration, as a dominant frequency in your body, expressed in every relationship in your life. That is the point. That is the purpose, regardless of the label. The second thing I want to make sure that I've shared with you, and I've said this in Star School 101, but I'm saying it here again for the benefit of people who are just now taking a class with me, just joining 201, your astrology is not your destiny. That's a different way of reading the stars called fatalistic or deterministic astrology. I do not read that way. Your astrology chart cannot tell you whether someone is your twin or not. There are common aspects or commonalities or coincidences among twins, but these aspects are also existent among non twins. Whether someone is your twin or not can only and truly be known by you, and your divine knowing must guide your path and be the compass that you trust above all others. The next thing I want to make sure I've said is that as twins, we're not guaranteed a 3D romantic partnership. As reflections of the Creator, we get to choose it. And so does your counterpart. What we are guaranteed is that whatever will serve the higher soul mission we came here to serve is what will play out. And all events, all soul compulsions on your part or your counterpart's behalf will be in alignment with that higher soul mission. So I want you to just breathe a sigh of relief. You cannot mess this mission up. The next thing that seems really important to say, because I see that there's a kind of unspoken trap inside, kind of classic twin flame lore and rhetoric that says, you can only be with your twin after you've done all your work. And if you're not with your twin, it's because you must not have done all your work yet. This kind of, you only get to have ice cream if you eat your vegetables kind of thinking. The reality is, there is no amount of inner or outer work we can do that will guarantee a traditional marriage and family with our twin soul will manifest. There is, however, an amount of work you can do that can make every connection in your life healthy and successful, including with your counterpart. The reality is, we just can't control what another person is going to choose to do with their work, their soul compulsions, their soul contracts. We just can't control what they're going to do with it. And even if we were to try by somehow tinkering around behind the curtain on our side energetically to make them choose the connection, that's not really love. The root of that is control. And wrestling with these cultural mandates about relationship, that you should be married, that you should have kids, that you should live in the same house, that you should be romantically involved with just one person for the rest of your life, forever and ever. Wrestling with those cultural mandates is part of the overall mission of twins. We're not here to reinforce the mold, we're here to break it. And any work that we do is for the evolution of our soul and the planetary consciousness. Further, all that work that we're doing, all those vegetables we're eating, it expands our ability to have a life built on the principles of unconditional love. And as such, it includes magnetizing a marriage partner, if that's what you want, who will meet you there. As we fulfill our soul lessons, the full expression of our soul dreams will manifest as we fulfill our soul's longings and yearnings for love and become the embodiment and expression of love. Those dreams will become possible. They were never tethered to or limited by another individual who also has free will. The universe is benevolent enough to not require your enslavement or their enslavement in that way. True love comes with freedom, not compulsion or enslavement for you or for them. Next, it seems really important to say that ascension partners, divine counterparts, twins, soulmates, they can all express in the energy that I use to read divine masculine and divine feminine. In fact, planetarily, I talk about divine masculine and divine feminine as, Jupiter and Juno when I read. But my guides have actually shown me that the energy between the two operates more like an intuiting twin and a transmuting twin. One twin who knows the way, and another twin who gets in the trenches and motors through becoming the old patterns to transcend them. The closer we get to transmuting those energies and really understanding that, yes, we both have divine masculine and divine feminine energies within us. One body can hold both. The closer we get to integrating those energies with us, the closer we get to union energy in the 3D world as well, either with our twin or counterpart or someone who's of the same frequency. The more union energy with self there is in the 3D, the more union there can be for the counterpart to show up in the 3D. The first step will always be union with self. And astrology is a really great tool to help you start identifying your own masculine and your own feminine energy. So I just wanted to make sure that I shared that with you. To the degree that I was able to, I took off the lenses that I have when I look at the stars and when I'm interpreting, and I wrote down everything that constructed those glasses so that you can put them on for yourself when you are looking at the chart and see, okay, this is what this could potentially mean. I do my best to really look through a lens of love and freedom, and through a lens of, the love that is conditionless. No expectations, nobody's getting it wrong. There are no conditions for it to be earned. The love just is and always will be. On that note, then, let's talk about connection, because I know a lot of people wanted to take this class to really understand, okay, when and how can I bring this connection together? And the reality is there's a lot you can do that actually has nothing to do with the stars. So I want to walk through some of the principles of connection before we get into what has to do with the stars so that you can understand that you're in control of this. The first thing is that connection breeds more connection. So if there's been a silence or you've let time and space lapse, if you want the connection to thrive in the 3D world, connect, talk, speak. If you want to be connected, connect. The currency of connection that connection is paid for in is pride. So if you want connection, you're going to have to give it up. There's no, oh, it's their turn, it was my turn last time, or there's no, would I always reach out? How come they can never reach out? That's your wounding. That's not love. That's pride. In order for connection to thrive, you just need to give up the pride until connection is restored. Again, this is just stuff I've seen from sitting with hundreds of people, looking at charts, listening to their stories, and really paying attention to what is the truth of love? What does love do? If there is silence and disconnection in your connection, it might really just be on you to restore connection. But that's if and only if the following things are not true. That is, if they didn't tell you that they needed space and specifically asked you to stop contacting them. If they asked you to stop, then the loving thing to do is respect and honor their wishes. If they didn't ask you to stop and you want to be connected and you're just kind of waiting for something from them, you might need to honor that you're the one who needs to show up in the space for connection first. Okay, you might need to be the one to restore connection. However, if they blocked you, and this is the second thing, if, social media, email, phone, they used an external barrier to disconnect, again, then it's on them. It's not on you. Okay. And then the third thing, the third time where I do not advise that you reach out is if they are red lighting you or signaling that they need you to slow down. They are either slowing down responses, they are, giving you the signal, hey, I can't be as responsive as you want me to be. You're sending 3 texts, they are sending 1. You are, kind of reaching out, all the time, and they're slowing down and slowing down and slowing down their response rate to you. Those are red lights. And so the thing to do with a red light situation is to check in. Hey, I'm noticing that I reach out this much and you respond here. Would you like me to change how often I'm connecting with you so that you feel really good about being connected with me? Because I really love connecting with you, but I don't want you to not love connecting with me. Check in if you're getting red lights. Okay. Those are uncomfortable conversations. But again, connection breeds connection. When you're really willing to connect with yourself, wow, this feels really uncomfortable. And then connect with them and say, hey, I'm feeling kind of uncomfortable in this. And I'd love to, make sure that I'm not making you uncomfortable. If you can connect to self and in your connection to self, also connect with them, connection will breed deeper connection. People appreciate being seen and heard, even if they don't always have the words to articulate what they need. If they are showing it to you, check in, ask, okay? The most loving thing we can do in those 3 instances where they said, hey, I need space, don't contact me, they block you or they're red lighting you. The most loving thing we can do in these instances is to respect their wishes. Unwanted and uninvited communication can be just as damaging to trust as unwanted and uninvited physical touch. Both can be extremely damaging to a person's sense of psychological safety and well being. The loving thing to do is to wait for the invitation to engage if people have exerted boundaries with you. Okay. I once had a client who wanted to connect with her counterpart in all charts. I looked at her chart, her counterpart's chart, I looked at the union chart. They all showed a green light, but her lived experience was red lights. So she reached out anyway based on our conversation. And then she went from getting red lighted to getting blocked. One of the most humbling and ego breaking aspects of unconditional love is loving someone enough to respect their no and their desire to work their life plan in their way, even if we don't understand it. The stars can't make someone want to connect with us. Neither can they make someone want to disconnect. They're not going to drag you into the castle and drag your twin into the castle and lock you two in it and say, live happily ever after. Nor will they separate you two and force you apart and lock you out of it if both of you are actively working to get inside. The power of connection lives in your own hands. And if you're already connected, do not give the keys away by quote unquote giving them space that they didn't ask for. You may be the only one reaching out, but that doesn't mean that they've asked you for space. Check in, ask, be willing to hear what they have to say. Don't disconnect to quote unquote show them how it feels. That's acting out of punishment and out of pain and not out of love. Don't give the keys away to your connection by hiding yourself or your true feelings. Look, if you're hurt, be connected and be hurt. If you're in love, be connected and be in love. Even though it's scary to be fully seen, share. Be fully connected to you and connect to them. Don't disconnect from yourself and your feelings and all of your experiences in order to be with them. That disconnection will breed more disconnection. It'll create a mirror. If you disconnect from you, they will also disconnect from you. The next way I see people give away the keys to their connection is by assuming and presuming that they know what's going on for another person, and then basing an entire series of choices on those presumptions. When you don't know, ask. And if you don't understand, ask for more information so that you can understand. The next way I see people giving away the keys to their connection is letting readers tell them what it will or won't be, and then basing an entire series of choices in the connection off of what readers, including me, have said or didn't say, as opposed to what your person themselves has said or didn't say. In other words, involving a third party. Anytime third parties get involved in divine connections, they consistently fall apart unless the third party is consensually invited in by both counterparts, i.e., a non monogamous but committed relationship between three people. Anytime there's, them, meddling around with, an ex or a current spouse, or you meddling around with, umpteen ex readers trying to figure out your connection instead of just talking to one another. You start involving these other energies, you're giving away the keys to your connection, which is why I'm having this conversation with you now, because it's so important to reclaim your power. The stars can support you, but you ultimately hold the keys. The last way I see people give away the keys to their connection is ignoring their counterpart's bid for the connection because the counterpart didn't show up the way they wanted them to in the past, or the way they felt like the counterpart should have shown up. Look, people connect the way they're able to connect. Some people have different attachment styles, different core wounds, different childhood issues, different traumas from past relationships and scars. Not everyone's going to be understanding things at the same rate and at the same time frame that you are around connection. So don't punish people for not being able to connect the way that you want them to. Our feelings about the way someone's able to connect are our issues to work out, not theirs. It's not their responsibility that we feel a type of way about their limitations. When they've given us the green light for deep connection and vulnerability, then it's everyone's stuff to work out. But until then, our triggers about the way they want to connect are our own responsibility. The next thing that I wanted to say about this is when restoring and maintaining connection, it's really critical to be willing to hear anything and everything. You need to be willing to hear, yeah, I cheated on you, or yeah, I chose someone else who wasn't you because you were presenting in this or that way, or yeah, I wasn't really feeling the connection at that time. I had other stuff going on in my world. You need to be willing to hear anything. This doesn't mean you have to like what you hear, but that does mean that you need to be willing to be with what they've chosen to share and not run away, not punish them, and not shut down because you had feelings about what was shared. Okay? You can feel what you need to feel about what was shared. I'm not saying your feelings are invalid, but in order to maintain connection and restore it, there does have to be a willingness to be with whatever their truth is and not completely flip out because it's true for them. If you're not ready to hear anything, like literally anything, then do some work to prepare yourself so that you can get the team, get the resources, get the support, get the understanding in place to stay in connection to yourself and your feelings as you stay in connection to them and where they're at. Okay? It's very important to be willing to receive their vulnerability and be willing to receive your own vulnerability in response to whatever you hear, whatever they happen to share. If you can do these things in the world of connection, I promise you, no matter what the stars are doing, you will find that you are able to connect and reconnect with your divine counterpart in deeper ways, no matter what's happening in the sky. Okay? Wanted to make sure I shared that so that as we dive into this information, you're not holding your breath because the stars don't hold the keys to your connection. You do.